Welcome, Divine Feminines and Everyday Goddesses. Welcome back to my channel. This week, we're going to be looking at what's going on between you and him in this connection. We're going to look at the feminine energies, masculine energies, the connective energies. First, I want to say hello and thank you to all my new subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. I'd love to have you join me here for these journeys. My readings here on this channel are really guided towards focusing you towards your best healing on the journey. So that's what we're up to. All right, so pile one, we've got the Intuitive Night Goddess Tarot with the Solistite Stone, which is for the upper chakra and higher healing. The Arcanum Tarots, pile 2 with the Celestine Quartz, the Tarot de la Nuit with the Celestine Heart. We've got the Dreamkeeper's Tarot with this Rhodonite and the Journey of the Sacred Bee with a quartz cluster. So take a deep breath, get yourself nice and grounded. Make your decisions, okay? And we'll get started, okay? I want to thank everybody who joined me for my last Kundalini yoga workshop. We do have another one coming up in June. It's going to be, which is going to be focused on some really deep karmic clearing and cleansing through the use of chanting and pranayama. Very powerful workshops. You can always go to my website at www.everydaygoddess1111 to sign up. I also offer karmic clearings and private readings as well too. Okay, so Divine Feminine, let's see what's going on with you in your energies. We have the Two of Swords, the Spirit of Wands, and the Eight of Swords, okay? And what's she thinking and feeling? The Spirit of Swords, the Seven of Swords, and the Ten of Cups. And what is shifting for the Divine Feminine? The Five of Swords, a lot of swords. Swords all over the place. Lots going on in her mind. The Death card and the Nymph of Pentacles. Okay. Let's look at the Divine Masculine. Oop! I'm not going to take those. That was a little too much that came out there. Okay, let's see what's going on in his energies. The Ten of Wands. The Seven of Wands. And the Six of Cups. What's he thinking and feeling? Six of Wands. Three of Cups. Ten of Cups. What's shifting for him? The Queen of Pentacles. Page of Wands. And the Ace of Cups. All right. Let's look at some connective energies with the Good Tarot. What's connecting you guys? The Queen of Pentacles. Well, that's really interesting because that's what's shifting for, that's you. The World for thoughts and feelings. And what's shifting? I'm going to take this one. The Emperor. Yeah, he's got some good energy shifting over here on his side. All right, so Divine Feminine, let's kind of start with you over here because you've got some blinders on here. You are not really wanting to see some spiritual knowledge, the truth of some spiritual knowledge. You've got the Eight of Swords too, which is being bound up in your own thoughts. You are allowing your mind to stop you from your spiritual mastery, which is sitting right there. You are your own worst enemy right now. You are tangled up in the head, in your mental body, and it's blocking your spiritual growth. This requires some real serious rerouting of your inner thoughts and a willingness to look deeper. This is just a choice for you, because the Two of Swords represents choices to be made. And you can continue to go along as you have been, really refusing to do the work of straightening out your brain, and keep going the way you're going, or make a really serious effort to change the way you think. Okay? Because what is happening, it's really interesting, because you've got in this deck, the Spirit is like the king. It's because it's all a feminine deck, right? So it's, again, but it's all in swords, and it's asking you to be so much more strategic. This is about mental control, to strategize and actually create a fundamental brass tacks strategy of how you are going to master your mind so that you can see clearer, that you can have knowledge and see the truths of your situation. And you see this card here has all these butterflies in it. This is going to create such transformation for you, and it is the thing that will unlock the Ten of Cups, which is the ultimate union card. That is happily ever after, but it is going to require some real disciplined work on your part. And this isn't just about feeling good and spiritual bypass and woo woo woo, I'm so spiritual, but this is really neurological. You might want to look at like Dr. Joe Dispenza, reading two books I'm going to recommend. One is his Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, and the other one is Wayne Dyer's Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, because that's what this means. Change your thoughts, change your life. Because all the blockages on the divine feminine side are in the mental body. Even what's shifting for her is this combative energy that is going to be completely changed. The Death card is not death, as we know. It is a complete overhaul. And that Five of Swords is about brutal fights and conflicts that create pain and sorrow and shallow victories. This is about the ways that you have been fighting with your counterpart and losing, even though you think you win the arguments, but you're losing the big picture. And the way that you've been thinking about the connection, catastrophic thinking, negative thinking, has been the barrier. The Nymph of Pentacles in this one is about a completely new path. It's a lot of mental work and mashugana to have that change that creates the new start. This is like almost like the tail of the story here, right at the last second, right? You get to start a new, fresh cycle, but you are going to have to take on a meditative practice, or, you know, that brain plasticity. There's another book, that Untethered Soul is a great book for you to read. But not just to read the books, but to come away with a plan. Seven of Swords. Make a plan. All right? And start unlocking this. Because I'll tell you this, you could come into union, but if you still are thinking like this, you'll blow it up. It just, or any relationship, really. This is really about a tremendous shift in how you've been raised, how you've developed your mind, how you've been going through the world. No matter what happens, doesn't happen, you end up with your twin, you end up with a soulmate, you end up whatever. This needs to change for your own happiness, or you will just be a miserable SOS for a long time. It doesn't matter what comes. This is how important and how fundamental this really is for you, Divine Feminine. And in a certain way, you could say that this is what this journey is about. Because the way we think, thoughts turn into, you know, feelings turn into manifestations. This is the whole center of what it is to be a spiritual being, right? To master the mind. And you are up against it because you've been drowning in the brain. Help is on the way. You've got a big change coming. And not to be too dark about this, but I will say that if you stay here and refuse to look and do not strategize, the universe is going to come get you anyhow. This change is coming. When the death card comes, that means that change is on its way, and you can either be the catalyst of the change, or you can wait and hold on in your darkness until the universe comes and kicks you right square in the tush. So it's your choice, and I would highly suggest getting down to business. Okay, let's look at your masculine. He has got the Ten of Wands, which he is really coming into completion. A completion on his spiritual journey. And it's been really a bit of a burden on him. But he's been carrying a lot. He's been carrying a lot on his shoulders. He's been really weighed down to it. But the good news is he's starting to come out of being just on the defensive. He has been in an energy of like perceived threats coming his way. He's actually really spiritual in the center, and he's really supported by the universe, but he refuses to see it. See, the face is turned away, right? There's all this beauty, and it looks like he's looking within, but he's actually really been looking away. But again, this is coming into a completion. See here, there's this journey and the ox and the burden and everything, but it's the road is behind, right? The road is behind. We're coming into a completion of a cycle that is going to make him feel really connected to you and victorious. And the Six of Cups is it's deep family love, especially in this card. See, it's like a man and his dog and a child and his dog. It's a lifelong partnership. And he understands in his spiritual body that you are that lifelong partnership for him, that you are family. He's going to get there in it because he's going to start or stop actually playing victim. In his emotional body, there's just a lot of cause for celebration here. He actually feels really good about the connection. He feels celebratory, light, happy, sexy, and he's got the Ten of Cups over here. And look at this. You both have it in the same position. So there is a deep, deep recognition between this couple between the two of you, that you are each other's happily ever after. But the thing that's most and you're connected by the world, right? You both know that you are each other's world, and this is coming into a big completion of a journey. The only conflictual energy here is your brain. Okay, it's your mind, so you got to release that a little bit. The cycle that he's going through in the birds in his spiritual body. So a lot of this up there is karmic and completing lifetimes of experiences in the past with you where things have been really difficult. And so any kind of karmic shared work that you can do together or for him, or in any kind of way, not for him, but in the shared energy field, that would be really great, because it will release him into these deeper feelings of this knowingness. This is something that's just floating around in his spiritual body, this connection, but really down on the 3D world, he feels really a lot of love for you. Look at this card here. They just, look at them sitting there on the rainbow. He knows that you're his happily ever after. The 3 of Cups represents friendship. The 6 is victory and love. So, and his cards are so warm and beautiful. I would say you're in a dark night of the soul, but you're actually more in a dark night of the mind. Okay. What's shifting for him? Again, the Queen of Pentacles. He knows that you are, this is like a wife card, right? Like he sees you as his wife. The Ace of Cups is fresh new love. And the Page of Wands coupled with these cards, sometimes this can be sort of a player card, but this is a fresh, young, sexy energy. But with these really mature cards around it, usually this can be a little bit of a warning, but in this case, I'm going to say, no, this is just about him starting a new path. He is ready to start this path with you. And the combining energy here is the Emperor, which is the divine masculine. This is an unusual reading because honestly, divine feminine, I gotta break the news to you. He's in better shape than you are. It's his masculine strength and knowingness that's holding the space in this cycle for you to clear out your darkness. So the work is there on your side to be done. Let's get some oracle cards, all right, and see where else this goes for you. Let's get some guidance in here for you. What's an energy that you can absorb to help with the clearing of the mind? Success. So this is about expectations of outcomes. You, Divine Feminine, I'm hearing that you've been on this journey so long that you're getting to a place where you just don't expect the best for yourself. You've gotten yourself into this mental trap where you just don't see the success coming. Be mindful of your thoughts. This might be something too that pervades other parts of your life. Almost like a fear of success, or a fear of expecting success. Like you may have had parents that said, had that like, don't get too big for your britches kind of upbringing, or we'll show you how fancy you think you are. So this is like almost a fear of expecting success because you're so afraid that that you'll be dropped on your head. Okay. What's the fear about street signs? There are messages that are going to be coming to you as you're driving or moving around. Okay, pay attention to them. This is also about looking more carefully at some of the signals that you get from your masculine and taking them in a more positive manner. All right. But so kind of get your head out of, get your focus out of your own brain, clear it up out there and start looking a little bit more outward. Let's get an angel card for you, Divine Feminine. Zana, you are protected from all types of harm. The worst is now behind you. I ask you to relax and feel safe. So again, it's that expectation of failure. Okay, so what this is saying here too is that at that negative expectation of failure, and again, I'm going to say it's like family. It's something that is so deeply ingrained in you. It's so deeply patterned. That's why I was mentioning the neurological books, that you barely even know that you're doing it. All right. So this is the angelic energies are also calling you to know that this success and your journey is protected, that you have angelic beings, guides, divine beings that are out there rooting for you. You can get yourself so stuck looking within, right, with all these blinders on, that you're not always connected to the spirit realm, not as a tangible reality, like it's an idea for you, rather than a real guided team. This is why you're also the street signs. You're being called to sort of shift your vision, take off the blinders and shift your vision outward into the spirit realm, but also like into signs that you see around you. All right. So you don't get just lost in your own brain all the time. And this is gonna give you the guidance you need to move forward. All right. Let's get some moon cards for you and for him. I've been pulling these a lot lately, but I just don't let your past hold you back. What was I just saying? So, and for him, expect powerful change. Well, I that death card over here, that powerful change is in you. So he should be expecting powerful change from you, and he's waiting for it. He's waiting for this change from you. This is one of the reasons that he has a tough, I'm going to be honest, he's had a tough time staying with you because of your negativity. It's hard for him to be around that a lot. But he's hopeful that you're going to make this change. Now, this don't let your past hold you back is also saying, like, you might, if you've not been in therapy, or if you've not been in any situation where you are really looking at how this negativity got patterned into you, and it can even be older than that, it can be ancestral, like way back. So there's a spiritual level of looking at that, but there's also like a cognitive therapeutic level of looking at how your family of origin caused you to get into this sort of, mental patterning all the time. Okay, so this is really calling you to both dissect it and to release it, and not just mentally, like, okay, I'm not gonna do that anymore, but to really rework it. Let's talk about the connective energies. You've got this Queen of Pentacles energy, which is patience in the spiritual realm. Be patient with each other. Know that this is a spiritual journey that takes whatever time it takes, right? But the Queen of Pentacles is this beautiful, like, wifely energy. And your divine masculine is waiting for you to step fully into that. And this, after you're in this process, right, you get the Nymph of Pentacles, right? Nymph. And she then turns into the earth, right? So it's for you to sort of release this so you can become more queenly, which means more trusting in the universe, more connected to your own spirit, rather than the confines of your mind. This world card here, right in the center, again, is so beautiful. You are the world to each other. And this journey is gonna come together. We talked about that Emperor card already as well too. Okay, so there's a lot of beautiful omens here, but there's definitely some serious work to be done. I'm gonna pull some romance cards. and a love oracle. Playfulness. To recapture romance, allow your inner youthful spirit of fun to shine, right? So this is purple match over here, right? This playfulness over here that he has in the connection, it's time for you to start matching that. Lighten up. As you release the blocks in your mind, you're going to be able to be in a much more playful, light energy, really, right? Which is like, that's how we want to be in a relationship, right? Want it to have joy and fun. So yeah, get out of the dark shadows. Acceptance is the key to inner peace. At times, we must accept things as they are. There's no point trying to change that which is beyond our control. And it's interesting because the only thing that really is in your control is what we're just talking about. Is how you're thinking and feeling and perceiving what is. And as you release those negative thoughts, you'll be able to be more in the present and to be more accepting of the rhythms and the cycles and the seasons and the bumps in the road of this journey. Okay? This is about mental resistance and fighting in the head. Okay? And as that goes, you'll be able to take, because this journey's going to have all sorts of phases as it goes, but he's grounded in who you are. What he may be choosing or not choosing may not be reflecting that, but there is a deep knowing here. So don't be afraid of it never working itself out. But as you free yourself, you'll be able to take the ebbs and flows of the journey with a lot less suffering. Okay? All right, I hope that was helpful. Go ahead and hit the like button if you enjoyed it. If it didn't resonate, check out another pile. That's fine too. Please do subscribe and join me here on a regular basis. And leave me a comment. I love to hear from you guys, all right? Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Welcome, pile 2. You have chosen the Arcanum Tarot with this beautiful piece of citrine for the third chakra, second and third chakra, citrine, power, prosperity. Just wanted to thank everybody who's subscribed to my channel recently, and if you haven't, please do. Love to have you here. Just appreciating everybody who's been hitting those like buttons and leaving comments. I'd love to hear from people. I get such a kick out of hearing it and getting feedback and hearing about your experience with the reading. So today we are looking at what's going on in this connection, what's going on between the two of you. And we're going to use the Arcanum tarot video. What the heck am I talking about? To look at the divine feminine's side to begin with. So first, let's take a look at her energies. We have the Eight of Wands. Can you get that? The Eight of Wands. The Four of Pentacles. And the Judgment card. And for how she's thinking and feeling, let's have the Eight of Cups, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Queen of Swords. And for what's shifting, King of Wands, the Seven of Wands, and the Two of Pentacles. Okay, it's going to be a tight spread here today, guys. I need to get a new little thing over here. We're going to pull this over. Let's get that over here for a second, okay? All right, let's look at the Divine Masculine. We're going to use the Radiant Rider Waite for the Divine Masculine. Let's see what's going on in his energies. Okay, we've got the King of Wands. That's funny. That's what's shifting for her. The Page of Pentacles. And the Seven of Swords. I'm going to move that little guy. Get this over here. And how is this divine masculine thinking and feeling? Ooh, Two of Swords. 10 of Cups. And the 5 of Cups. What's shifting? Page of Wands. The Queen of Swords. And Strength. All right, let's take a look at connective energies. Oops, all right, I'll take that one. Between the two of you, the connective energies are the Seven of Wands, the Four of Pentacles, and what's shifting is the King of Pentacles. Actually, I want to start with the connective energies here between the two of you. So there's on the spiritual level, in spirit, there's a lot of defensiveness, a lot of perceived battle. And if you notice in the Seven of Wands, and this is an interesting one because this one we're looking to his back, but he still is defensive about something that's not there. So the two of you are sort of swiping at each other and having a lot of barriers up, but the things that you're defensive about are illusory. All right, so you might want to check in with this for yourself. You can't really control that on him, but this is like someone who's sort of back on their heels and kind of inventing it in their own energies. All right, the Four of Pentacles in the thoughts and feelings that's a miserly energy. This is people sort of holding on to both their positions for dear life, and nobody's really budging. We'll come back around to this when we go through, but this was such a clear, sort of almost a combative energy, and everybody's sticking to their own version of events and not really a lot of openness or listening to the other's point of view. What's shifting is positive because there is that King of Pentacles, which is a little bit more mastery on the earth plane level, on the 3D level. So in terms of actual communication and things sort of coming together, a little bit more contact, a little bit more knowledge about each other is coming forward, which is good, because in these emotional and inner realms, they're really a stuck position. Let's come over here to the divine feminine in terms of her spirit. Okay, so you're starting with the Eight of Wands, which is about a lot of downloads coming through the from the divine, and a lot of information coming through. But interesting in this situation, there's a little bit of a reversal of direction those wands are coming at. And again, this Four of Pentacles energy, by the way, that's in the connective energy, divine feminine, this is very much on your side. So there's sort of a lot of sort of batting away and swiping away and knocking away spiritual information that's coming through, because honestly, there's like this stubborn holding on to the way things were. It's like, I'm taking my toys and I'm staying in my corner, and this is how things are, and there's not a lot of wiggle room on your part. But with that Judgment card going on, the Judgment card is about an awakening and a newfound awareness in spirit. And it's a very powerful card coming forward. And this is a message to you, Divine Feminine, to let go of your need to be right, your need to hang on to the past, your sort of like a slight unwillingness, quite frankly, to allow the messages from Spirit to really enter you deeply. They're coming in and you're sending them right back. So this is a little bit of a trigger warning, because you may think you're very open and on this spiritual path, but it goes down about 3 inches. It's very on the surface, and there's a layer underneath, a wall, where you're just have not been willing to drop into. In the thoughts and the feelings, I mean, the 8 of Cups is very positive, because emotionally, this is like an inner journey. This is going into the fears and the unknown, and it's a new start for you, and an ability to face some truths about yourself. It's almost like you're more emotionally and intellectually patient than you are really on the deeper spiritual work. So although this is good, this big blockage in your spiritual body really needs to be addressed. It's almost as if there's a bit of a resistance here to really recognizing that you're a spiritual being, have a human experience. You're so aware of your emotional journey, but there's almost like a difficulty really accepting, for the twin flames, the real size of the journey, the eternal nature of the journey. You're kind of looking at this much of it, and Spirit's asking you to look more at the bigger picture, especially with these combative energies. All right, so you're processing a lot of your emotional energies about him and what you're thinking and feeling, but this is almost like pull back and get the bigger picture, that this journey is bigger, longer, more eternal, more multidimensional than you've wanted to admit. But you do have this fresh start. All right, you've got this fresh start, and there's something that's going to come towards you that's going to be a really great opportunity for you to do some deeper emotional work on yourself. Okay. And the other message here is, because the Queen of Swords can be a woman that's really quite harsh with her words. And it's really interesting because it's showing up in what's shifting here. If your partner is with a karmic, this is also about letting go of some of the harshness and the anger that you have towards the karmic, but also towards yourself. Like looking inside your emotional body and your thoughts, and looking at ways that you've been really hard on yourself. Repetitive thoughts about your self-worth, about your value, being valueless. You're hard on yourself on the inside. And the situation, for those of you that do have third-party situations, that the fierceness of the anger towards the other women in your twin's life is really a reflection of how little you think about yourself. So Spirit is calling you to go deeper inside your emotional body and to take advantage of this. There's an opportunity coming towards you to really go in and do some shadow work. And this is what would be really great for you to be addressing at this time. What's shifting for you, Divine Feminine? The King of Wands, which is a mastery of spirit. So this cycle here it's available to be closed out. This new awakening, if you take advantage of this and start to just release your defensive position, because this grasping and this defensiveness is definitely tied over here to you. And if you're able and willing to make this shift to allow more spiritual messaging, downloads, information in, and to do this inner journey, you're gonna become a lot more masterful at the level of spirit. Again, this Seven of Wands, this defensiveness, it's showing up on your side. The Two of Pentacles refers to the fact that you've got a choice. You're at a really powerful choice point, Divine Feminine, because you are standing at a forked road. And you could either go down that road and just keep doing what you've been doing, or make a more fundamental shift. The word I'm kind of getting out right now is sort of a spiritual bypass. This is the kind of practice where you're focusing a lot on spirit, like spiritual practices, but you've been very much looking at the upper chakras, like, oh, I'm so spiritual, but you, in a way, sort of using spirituality to avoid some of the lower chakra work and some of the darker work and some of the darker truths about yourself. So you could either really choose to start getting real with yourself at this point, or you could just sort of stay with this sort of airy-fairy spiritual, way of dealing with your spirituality that is very surface. It's really time to look at some of the attachments that you have and some of the places where you have not been willing to change or admit your own places where you've been wrong about things. And that's a little rough, but it's truth. There's all this defensive energy and holding on and harsh truths and stuff like that. So there's a lot to clear here on your side. Lots of work to do. Let's go look at him for a second. So he's got, in his spiritual body, he's actually got this King of Wands, which is showing a mastery, a knowledge. He's embracing some new spiritual knowledge on his side, and he's moving this in a new direction. It's causing him to make some choices on the physical plane that are new. He's changing courses in some really fundamental ways, and it's from this sort of spiritual maturing on his part. It's very divinely guided, and he's being very strategic about where he wants to position himself in the physical world to take advantage. This is very separate energies, I would say right now. This feels like twins in separation. And he is very strategically placing himself in either a place or a position where he can take time out and start to integrate this shift that's going on spiritually. That's his higher self is doing that. He's being guided by his guides and his higher self. He might not even be really aware that that's what he's doing, really conscious of it, but that's where spirit is sort of moving him. Because his emotional and mental body is also very, very blocked. He's got the Two of Swords, which is just somebody who's not willing to look at their feelings. He's been consumed with regret about the past. Some of that's about you, but it's bigger than you. It's all his relationships. It's all his all the ways that he's blown it in the past. He knows that he has ruined, or passed by, at least for now, his opportunity to have a happily ever after. He knows that he did that with you. He knows that he's done that in the past. He knows that this is a pattern where he focuses on regret, but he's just hasn't been really willing to look deeply within himself to look at the cause of that. He's looking at the wrong things, right? And he's kind of stuck in the past and looking at the opportunities he's missed and not really looking forward. And this is why spirit is kind of pushing on him a little bit. The thing that's shifting is he's also getting ready to move in a new direction. He's getting some spiritual thoughts, but this is very much kind of a player card with the Queen of Swords. I'm going to just put a little trigger warning here. This this feels like a third-party situation. And he's kind of bonding himself or just playing games with another woman who is who's also very harsh with his words. I'm going to take the Queen of Swords here as the Karmic, and it's showing up across the deck here a little bit. So there's a parallel in here sort of between the two of you. This guy likes to get involved with women that have a sharp tongue. It's not an incredibly it's not an incredibly deep relationship, but he is gathering strength from it because he's moving through karma by being in it. Spirit is calling to you to shift that energy within yourself. So this here is what I'm going to call a little bit of a cat fight. All right? It's sort of like the energy between the divine feminine and the karmic right now is like who can be the bigger biatch. But I can tell you that that is really not the way to fight to get this guy back, right? This is really about you letting go of those kinds of energies and getting yourself more elevated, okay? This is a couple that really needs to be doing a lot of their separate work right now, is what that really looks like to me. We're going to pull some oracle cards here as well too. I want to ask I'm going to look at just a message here on your side, a spiritual message. Panther. I want to look at some of the things that what is he not really willing to look at? Euphoria. What are you facing? Power hungry. Okay, we're going to do one more card here. I'm going to go on to a connective energy here. It's a beautiful, cute little Green Witch Oracle. Attraction. Okay, so the Panther is a fire animal card, and it's very similar to the Tower, meaning that there needs to be a really fundamental letting go of things that no longer work. This Panther is not willing to have anything around anymore that doesn't work. And falling in your spiritual realm, this is just really saying, like with this Judgment card being about awakening a new awareness, this is really time for you to drop all this that you've been hanging on to. It's really time, Divine Feminine. This has really got to go. This Power Hungry card, again, this is what I was saying about the fight with the third party. And if it's not an exact third party, it's almost like a fight. You could take that, if you know for sure that's not your case, you could take it as like the things that take up his attention that are not you. This is showing that there's a level of real codependent need for attention, that you're struggling. It's like a tug of rope game that you've got going on with getting his attention and going to the relationship as a way to solidify your own self-worth, all right? And being in, trying to always be in a dominant position of control with him. This is this defensiveness that sits in the center. And with this attraction card, I'm going to say that there's also something that really turns the two of you on sexually, like fighting. Like power struggle is something that has sort of also been a little bit of a turn on. This is why he's got this like player card with these Queens of Swords. Like there's a charge that sort of comes out of arguing and one-upping each other and trying to get the upper hand. And that is not really a place of divine elevated love. So this is about really reorganizing and revisiting your thoughts about what divine partnership really looks like. Because right now it's a little bit more of a tug of war than of two separate elevated people sharing their energies as co-equal partners. I'm asking what he's not really wanting to look at. This is somebody who doesn't know what happiness really looks like. He doesn't really understand the energy of Ten of Cups, the divine sweetness that can come from partnership. He's also got that sort of like attraction to the Queen of Swords. And he thinks that it empowers him, but it's really more feeding the masculine ego that he's got going on than being in a balance, than being in a real spiritual, deep, upheaval balance. Okay, so there's a lot of conflict here. You might see my head for a second because I wasn't gonna do this, but I'm gonna do this. We're gonna go for some guidance on here because there's just really a lot of, it's like really straightening out both of your ideas about what an elevated peaceful partnership looks like. So let's see, what is the focus for you, Divine Feminine? Pleasure. And his is relaxation. And let's look at the Starseed Oracle as well. Got to kind of focus on how to deal with all of this. Deep love, mother's milk, birth as a portal. And his is Horus energy, protection, loyalty, safety, and trust. Okay, so I know you can't control what he's doing, but hold this intention. He's got to learn how to get out of these combative relationships and that he is kind of turned on by. He needs some time on his own to sort of relax and find out what loyalty, safety, and trust in a relationship looks like. There's almost something like a little emotionally sadistic going on here. The protection, I would also say, Divine Feminine, if you know how to ground and protect your connection, that would be a really good thing to do for him because he gets a lot of interference from these other turbulent energies that he likes to engage with, and he could use some protection for that. But he's on a path of learning that, the loyalty, I'm going to say, like with this Euphoria and the Ten of Cups, that, a healthy relationship is one that has safety and trust, not one that is about, fighting power struggles, emotionally beating each other up. This is going to come to him through finding some downtime, from him sort of detaching from this energy. It doesn't feel like he's quite ready to do that, but hold that intention for him to move in that direction. For you, we've got this pleasure card, and right here we have this beautiful outdoor area with a deer in it, and the deer energy is the Divine Feminine energy. Deer medicine is about nurturing and sweetness. The mother's milk, there's a big need here to mother your own self and find this deep love within yourself. Birth as a portal. You are being asked, Divine Feminine, to completely rebirth yourself as a divine mother, the mother of your own inner child, to step up into a lot more maturity of your emotional relationship with yourself, inside yourself. Mother's milk and pleasure. This is about you nourishing yourself, like for real. taking some time on vacation, eating yourself eating really well, making sure that your food is really good, maybe doing some rebirthing. This, for some of you, is a message about clearing out birth trauma and trauma in the womb that you experienced in the womb. Because some of this combative energy and this unwillingness to look within comes from a fear that if you look in, you'll just completely fall apart, right? So this is a lot of wounded child stuff coming up for you that you can heal through focusing on your own pleasure, okay? And that word pleasure might have a sexual connotation. It can be that, but it also is pleasure from all directions, pleasure from nature, finding that just that sweetness and that stillness to create a safety for yourself so that you get more courageous to let go of your defensive mechanisms. All right. So we're just gonna end with one more card just as a final message. I'm going to go into twin experience for you guys. Let's just get a message from your combined twin field. This is a lot of hard work. I know this is a lot of rough stuff here. Codependency or self-love deficit disorder. I'm trying to end on a positive note. Okay, but there it is. Codependent energy right in the center of this connection. A lot of your attraction is based on codependency. We talked about this fighting, this power struggle. So this nurturing energy over here is about you really, you're gonna have to get yourself detached a little bit from the connection, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, to go within and do that inner child work and start looking at some of the deeper, darker, scarier sources of how you've been operating. Let him, go through what he's going through over here, yeah? He's got to get rid of that player vibe and his unwillingness to look within and, interacting with crazy, harsh people that he sort of gets off on, but there's not a lot you can do about that. He's going to have to cycle through this. You guys are in these separate cycles doing some really, really deep work. So good luck with that, Divine Feminine. I hope I see you soon, and know that you can be brave and get through these issues. All right, face them. You will be better off in the end. He can't fix this for you, right? That's codependency. You have to fix it yourself. Okay, all right. I'll see you next time. Good luck. If you got something out of that, I know you might have been a little triggered, but please do hit the like button and leave me a comment and let me know if that resonated for you. Okay, talk to you soon. So welcome, pile 3. Okay, so we've got the Tarot de la Nuit with this beautiful Celestine heart. I'm sure lots of you guys are picking this one because everybody loves this beautiful, beautiful stone. And Celestine is for the crown chakra. So this is going to help bring clarity to love. All right. There's an interesting thing. There's a book by David Hawkins called Power versus Force, and where he calibrates different emotions. And romantic yearning love is actually below the scale of consciousness as opposed to divine love with self, divine love shared with partnership that is non-codependent, which is at the top of the scale. So that's one of the things we're really working at, right, as goddesses and divine feminines, is to discern the difference between those two things. So also just want to take a little shout out to my new subscribers. Hello, welcome. If you're new here and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Join me here in this community and hit those like buttons and those bells if you find something helpful. It helps the channel to grow and get these messages out there. We're looking at what's going on in this connection. All right, we're going to look at the divine feminine energies first. In the spiritual realm, we've got the 8 of Swords, the 7 of Swords, and the world. Thoughts, how's she feeling? Thoughts and feelings. The King of Wands. Got the 7 of Pentacles. And the 10 of Swords. Oh, sweetie, you are having a bit of a tough time, aren't you there? Okay. What's shifting? The 2 of Pentacles. Judgment. And the Emperor. Wow. Okay, that is some wild stuff there. Let's take a look at the masculine side here. All right, what's he going on? What's he going on in his spiritual realm? We've got the 5 of Rods, the King of Pentacles, and the 6 of Pentacles. Okay. His thoughts and feelings got the 4 of Pentacles. Wow. The Fool and the 10 of Cups. And what's shifting for the masculine? The 3 of Rods. Pentacles again. 3 of Pentacles. This guy's got money on the brain. The Lovers. Okay. And let's run some connecting energies here. Let's look at the, use the Radiant Rider Waite here. The 2 of Cups in the spiritual realm. What's connecting you emotionally and thoughts? The Empress. And what's shifting? The Fool. Wow. Okay. So, Divine Feminine, let's start with you. There is a tremendous challenge going on in your spiritual world. The 8 of Swords, it represents someone who is really stuck in their thoughts and unwilling to see the deeper truths. This is, she's got her eyes closed, right? She's just sort of laying down for the count, not really looking outward, not really looking forward. This is the inability to see oneself really clearly. And you've been in this cycle for quite a while. The 7 of Swords can be someone who's sort of being sneaky or strategic in a certain way, but in this card, she's really sort of making a run for it. So, Divine Feminine, you've been sort of running from self on the spiritual level. Been really stuck in a lot of mental confusion about this journey and what it really means. There's been a sort of a willful lack of looking, to be quite frank. I know that's a little hard to say. The good news is that you're at the end of this cycle, okay? With the World coming out, the final card also represents harmony and balance and more fulfillment. Spirit is also telling you that it's necessary for you to close this out. This isn't something right now that's gonna happen automatically. You've got to, Spirit's, I say you got to, but Spirit is encouraging you to finish this off, to open your eyes more clearly and look at the things that you've been unwilling to look at. This is a Divine Feminine that needs to look with a lot more clarity as to what this journey is really about. Even if you've got these really positive connective cards, but this is about the fact that this journey really is ultimately about your own ascension with self and restoration towards inner peace, inner love, and inner harmony, not just getting him back kind of a thing, right? It's like you've been engaging with the spiritual aspects of this journey just to get that result. Now, that's not to say that the desire for union isn't always there. It is always there. But this is about really sort of delineating and accepting that energy, but sort of bifurcating your view and looking a little bit more deeply as to what the real bottom line of a soul's journey is. Yeah. So in the thoughts and feelings, we've got, again, this sort of tension. We've got this Ten of Swords over here, which is just deep, deep grief and pain, coupled with the Seven of Pentacles, which the Seven of Pentacles is about patience and divine guidance and experience, and knowing that things are moving in the direction they need to move in, and that things will come to fruition in their own time. In this one, we have this ballerina with these red shoes, this black swan. So there's a bit of like a bit of a self-destructive nature where she's clawing at herself. And ballerinas have incredible discipline and diligence. The story of the red shoes, you know, she's got these sort of magical shoes that make her dance in such beauty. But she also, you know, you need to sort of find that beauty within for that transformation, and not just relying on magic or external things to reach your spiritual fulfillment. You have your eyes on the prize of this King of Wands energy, which is about, you know, spiritual knowledge and full knowledge. Spirit is just telling you to trust your discipline, trust your patience. Don't try to get shortcuts to get there, and to know that you will get out of this pain, this deep, deep grief that you're in, through steady application of, you know, your daily meditation or whatever healing modalities you're doing to pull yourself up out of this deep, deep pit. And to be wary of false modalities. You know, engaging in things, make sure that there's no voodoo happening here, or, you know, paying too many other people to get things done for yourself, sort of handing over this magical journey into other people's hands. It's okay. I mean, I do clearings and stuff for people, but I'm always really clear, or trying to emphasize to my clients that you're capable of doing this healing yourself. Don't give your power away. Know that there are, you know, all sorts of disciplines out there that can heal the heart, clear karma. There's meditations, there's chants, there's yoga nidra. There's so many things that you can be engaging in, and there's no shortcut around that work to be done, because ultimately you're, you know, releasing your own grief and your own pain, really separate from the masculine. Again, this is similar to the pile two, in that these are we've got some really separate energies here. And your stuff is so much about cleaning up the mind. Again, this is a kind of a theme that's coming up. All these swords, right, coming out. A lot of mental confusion, a lot of negative thinking, and you're trying to just sort of jump to the end of the playing board, or get somebody else to move you to the end of the playing board. But have faith in yourself and your abilities to get that work done. it might feel like forever, but relief will come through that steady application. The good news is, and what's shifting, you know, it's funny because we've got the Two of Pentacles. This is so similar to the first, this is the pile too. You might want to check that out as well, because this is about making a choice. And I said this in the last one, and I think it also came out with Judgment. But this means that you are really at a crossroads of decision making about whether you're going to move really towards your healing or not. And again, this healing is really through the mind. You might want to check out K Moon's new video, because she's talking about a lot of feminine energy sort of pulling back or quitting on the connection because they're not necessarily getting the immediate result. And that's exactly what this is about. It's like, well, if that's not going to work, if I'm not getting a result with him, then I'm just not on this journey at all. But see, then you're kind of throwing the baby out with the bathwater in a way. All right, this Judgment card, you know, it's about an awakening and a new awareness, and coming out with the Emperor. The Emperor is about strength and stability and your own inner masculine energy awakening. And that masculine energy, the Emperor, he is about the energy in you that can get things done. So this is really about coming out of negativity and sort of like a victim mode and trying to run away, right? Trying to not look, staying in your grief, right? Wanting to use some kind of almost like fairy tale level of magic to transform. But this is really about staying in that day-to-day work and opening up your spiritual mastery and having that masculine do it, that just like Adidas, the sneakers, right? Just do it. You look at this card of Judgment here. See, she's got that beautiful landscape. She's got to move through the tunnel here, and she is looking backwards and saying goodbye to her own darkness. She's carrying the light and she's moving towards the sunlight. She's not through that tunnel yet, but she's got a choice to move through it. And that's the choice that's up for you right now, my feminine. This is, you know, feels like a very critical choice point in you to decide to walk down this road of healing, no matter what it looks like on the 3D, and to put your healing first as a priority. Let's move over to the masculine for a second. You know, on the spiritual level, this guy's he's just not taking things very seriously, to be honest. He's got his focus really in the wrong direction. Things are very out of balance for him. And he's just over focused on the material realm and his coin. He definitely has a lot of knowledge about finance and his money and his stuff, but he's a little confused as to thinking that that is his spiritual destiny, having stuff, you know, having money, having things, and it's throwing him way off. This is a masculine that needs to refocus, you know. He's, yeah, it's just, there's a materialistic energy coming through here. And he might be sort of one of these spiritual bypass people that sort of plays at spirituality, sort of gives it a little bit of a voice to it. But it's not really deep or authentic, his spiritual practice. He gets really distracted by stuff, cars, clothes, gaming, overworking, that kind of stuff. He might be a little bit of a workaholic, or if he's not a workaholic, he's just a game player, you know, in terms of, you know, well, not sexually playboy energy, more of just like, yeah, materialistic. So he's a little stuck in that right now. Again, even in the emotional body, he's showing sort of this, the Four of Pentacles is about grasping and miserly energy and holding on to pentacles. And it's preventing him from taking a new journey. So see, the pentacles they sort of drop down into this like little card here that's saying, Spirit's telling him, let go. Let go of the stuff and take that new journey. And it's the new spiritual journey, the journey of the Fool, which will actually bring him some fulfillment. And he might be getting a slight awareness about this. It's not showing up in his spiritual body, but it is showing up sort of in his mental and his emotional body. So he's getting slight hints of that there might be something a little off with the fact that he is holding on to the material world too hard. This is also ego. Like, this might be somebody, if he's in third-party situation, it's like there's something about the karmic that makes him feel egoically fulfilled, like trophy women, that kind of thing, rather than being authentic. But he's starting to get a little suspicious that that it just might not be what life's all about. And it's positive. There's a really positive shift here for him. And it is about you. That this Lover's card is about you. He's going to start coming into a cycle where he realizes that he would have a firmer foundation connected with you. And the 3 is, you know, he's got two threes here, which is about creativity, looking at things in a new creative way. The 3 is someone who's looking out and has made that decision, is expecting those ships to come in, right? Someone who's got an expectation of having more. So this cycle looks like it was going to be closing out in a certain while, and this new awareness is going to cause him to sort of re-look at what he is valuing. And it's funny how these pentacles show up in this, they come still down in here, but building a new foundation, and with that 3, thinking about even his material world in a completely new way. And that there's something more fundamental about it when he's connected to a higher love. These beautiful lilies here representing grace and peace and a new beauty in love. He's gonna come into an awareness about what it means to be divinely connected to a woman in a way that has more depth to it. All right. I'm just going to move my chair for a little second here. So the connective energies are really, really positive. I mean, in the spiritual realm, you've got the 2 of Cups here, which is, you know, represents partnership. So the 2 of you are actually very much on the same page in the spiritual realm. Your 5D connection is actually quite strong. And even though it's looking kind of like you're both sort of separately in your own mess, yours being really mental and his being about materialism, it's just basically saying that it's like this, you're both sort of moving, you're kind of moving in parallel. You actually are divinely connected on this path, and you're both moving through some really fundamental decisions and issues that they're different, but there's a reflection between the 2 of you. Also, just wanted to point out, I want to backtrack a little bit to that 3, because I also forgot to mention that the 3 is also about fulfillment and foundation with the beloved. So he is moving through these energies. You have to choose to move through yours. So this is really interesting. Again, I'm going to refer about Kay Moon's thing about the female sort of choosing to bail, you know, to sort of take on the masculine sort of runner energy and bail. Because he's actually got a sort of an energetic trajectory moving forward. The emotional energies, again, this beautiful 3, this beautiful Empress, and he sees you as his Empress. Again, creativity, abundance, looking at things in new creative ways. Both of you are fundamentally taking a second look at yourselves. This is really about looking at, each of you are looking at things with new eyes. You're starting to really look at the way you've backed yourself into a corner mentally through negative thinking, and realizing that you have to start thinking and looking at things a new way. And he's looking at how he's valued things poorly in the past. He's put too much energy into the material world. And the thing that is shifting is the beginning, the complete start of a new journey. See, he's got the Fool twice, right? So he's definitely on a reset. This is something that you both must choose. The beginning of a new cycle, closing out a lot of this lack of awareness and kind of low-level energies that you've both been in for a while. We talk about that scale of relatedness. You might want to check out that book, Power versus Force, because it talks about the scale of consciousness. So this is, again, Spirit asking you to permanently raise your level of consciousness and wake up. The third line here is really encouraging, because, we've got that harmony and that healing and the balance. We've got the Lovers coming in, right? We've got fulfillment, new foundation, this strength. But notice how that Two of Pentacles is down here in this corner. It's anchored by the choice that the divine feminine will make as she goes through a good part of this year. Honestly, these energies about the feminine wanting to sort of detach because she's not necessarily seeing results. It's anchored here. It's anchored here in you having some patience and faith that you can be awakened and healed, and bringing in your strength. And if that continues to happen, there's a reset here, or at least successfully moving into the next cycle of this journey together. Even though you might not feel like you're together, spiritually you are in partnership, and in a new partnership. This is like a very young romantic beginning of love. So there has been an upgrade in the spiritual energies. I think there are many more upgrades here to come, because what's on either side of that is very it's a struggle. There's a lot of struggle. There's a lot of blockage and conflicted levels in your spiritual bodies. Okay, there's not a lot of really elevated stuff here on the spiritual realm. So you kind of want to think of this healing like a cycling. You've definitely kicked up to another level, but I'm going to say keep going and keep going here, so that this energy begins to ripen and mature. And I'd really like to see stronger, more ascended energies here in the spiritual body, because that will start to drop down and continue to move you guys along into more harmony, into greater harmony and greater union. Just want to see what is plaguing the divine feminine. I want to see a couple things here. What's plaguing her in the mind? Frustrated. Yeah. And what could block this choice? Serene. A lack of serenity. So, yeah, you're just frustrated, divine feminine. I get it. I totally get it. You've been on this journey for a long time, and you probably a little triggered me saying that, oh, we've got so much healing to do here, but it's just the truth. And I know you feel frustrated, but one thing to remember is when you awaken as a twin on this incarnation, sometimes it takes lifetimes to awaken as a twin. So a lot of these ascension energies, they're bigger and more complex than you even realize, because you have really made this choice to really shift yourself as a soul. It's a big job that you agreed upon coming in here, to really let go and shift and grow and change. So I know it's really tempting to, do a certain amount of healing and sort of look back over your shoulder and say, did it work? Did I get it? But keep the bigger picture of what it is that you as a soul have as a goal. The Serenity card at the Two of Pentacles, be wary of letting anybody rock your boat too much. All right, anything in your life right now that doesn't add to your peacefulness and serenity, people, places, jobs, things, anything that is keeping you from being able to stay really steady and peaceful, get rid of it. Because this kind of release of the mind, this kind of stuff, this can be really kind of painful and difficult as it just changes. And you need this quiet space to clear thoughts, to clear negative thinking. So if you're whacked with stress, which everybody sort of is these days, but be really discerning about allowing things into your circle that upset you, that throw you off balance. I mean, of course, the journey is upsetting enough, right, at times. So anything else that is not supporting you in clarifying the mind and finding that peace, eliminate it, really eliminate it. Let's just get a message, all right, from your masculine. Let's kind of look a little bit here and see, just a little love message here. I'm going to put in the center. So let's do this. Emotions are a natural and necessary part of life, but they can also distort your perception and cloud your vision. In order to see things clearly, you must let go of resentment. Okay, so I'm going to put this right over here. Resentment, frustration, this grief, this pain, this Ten of Swords. Again, this is just underscoring what I was saying, is that sort of getting lost in dark thoughts and emotions, sort of stopping you from seeing the bigger picture of what the journey's about. Emotions and thoughts are energies that pass through. They're not permanent. So finding ways and strategies and methodologies to clear them, to stabilize, to find that serenity. Fight for your serenity. Have patience and diligence so that you start to see yourself more clearly. You see your connection with more clarity and more truth, more acceptance and more patience. All right, Divine Feminine? Okay, great. So I hope that's helpful. I hope that gives you a little bit of a focus on where to head towards. It was great to have you here. If you found that helpful, again, please go ahead and hit the like button and share, and subscribe if you haven't. You can tell I'm not, I don't pull any punches over here. I'm just go, he's coming back. I mean, yes, all twins are in cycles, right? And they will come back together at places. So when you're in these separations, these very separate energies here right now, use them wisely. Use your time wisely, okay? All right, I'll see you next time. Hey there, Pile 4, and welcome to your reading. We're looking at what's going on in your connection. We're going to look at the Divine Feminine, the Divine Masculine, the connective energies. You've chosen the Dreamkeeper's Tarot new deck. Always love to have a new deck, very exciting. And you've also chosen this rhodonite stone. Rhodonite is very good for clearing out festering wounds from the past, karmic memories of pain and betrayal, helps to clear codependency, and emotions that you're hanging on to, anger that's been under the surface. So very, very powerful stone here for you guys. So as we're getting ready, I just want to welcome all my new subscribers. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. Love to have you guys join me here every week, every other week for, these messages to help you along with your twin flame journey. So let's see what's going on with this divine feminine. Okay, we've got the Seven of Swords, the Devil, and the King of Cups. Okay, so this is what's going on in the energy. And her thoughts and feelings, we've got the Five of Wands. Okay, let me bring these down a little bit. Okay, we've got the Five of Wands, the Star, and the Six of Wands. And what's going on in the shifting energies? What's shifting for divine feminine? The Sun. Six of Swords. And the Page of Cups. Alrighty, let's take a look at your masculine. Let's see what's going on in his energy. He's got the Rider-Waite here, so let's take a look. Six of Pentacles. Five of Pentacles. And the Seven of Wands. All right, his thoughts and his feelings. The Magician. Page of Pentacles. Also the Six of Wands. Look at that, right in the exact same position. We're going to take this one. What's shifting? The Lovers. Knight of Swords. And Strength. Wow. Okay, let's look at some connective energies. We've got the Journey of the Sacred Bee, which we just love. Love this deck. In the energies, what are their connective energies? The Magician, up again. Thoughts and feelings, the Moon. And what's shifting? The Ten of Pentacles. Okay, great. So divine feminine, let's start with you. All right, so in your energy field, you're definitely managing codependent issues that are sourced in emotions. Emotions from the past, emotions from past lives. That's why it's in the spiritual body. It's an emotional card in the spiritual body, because it's leftover residual codependent patterns that you've been carrying from lifetime to lifetime. They could also be in your ancestral lines, things that are energetically hitting you, patterns. Yes, ancestral lines, because those are like codependent patterns that have sort of been passed down through the ages, but you're becoming very knowledgeable about this, and you are the Seven of Swords energy brings in a sense of strategy. You are being quite strategic about it. This card can also mean kind of a sneakiness, and in this one she does have this sort of mask on. So in this sense, I'm going to suggest that you take a deep look as to the difference. I'm going to bring both those words in for the Seven of Swords. That when you are being strategic, when you're really being honestly strategic about facing those codependent issues, or when you're sort of sneaking around them, pretending they're not there, pretending or justifying some of the codependency that's been patterned into you, and making excuses for it. So this is almost like the flip side of two different coins. But this is a very divinely guided, this is a number 7. So this is a very divinely guided cycle and pattern, and a really good opportunity for you to become much more clear and much more truth-telling as to what those patterns are. The things you choose to ignore and the things you really, really do choose to face. But this has a lot of spiritual power in it for you, Divine Feminine. So you're at a real crossroads and a choice point as to really unearthing and digging stuff. You know, I know people can get really defensive, you know, when you mention codependency. I know I do sometimes. But this is also recognizing that some of that patterning does come from external places. So don't worry about carrying the shame about that. Like, oh my God, somebody's calling me codependent again. Just know that this is stuff that is familial, that is cultural. And that's the time to become really strategic, to sort of look at, oh, this is how I learned this. This is even in terms of being overly attached to romantic love, which, you know, scales much lower on the scale of consciousness than divine love. You know, and it's not something that we're taught in our movies even, or our novels, or our entertainment. You know, we're all taught to put romantic love on a pedestal, and that doesn't mean your union can't be juicy and sexy and delicious and yummy and all of those things. But to be really learning the difference at this point spiritually between higher love, unconditional love, what it really is to be in a spiritual partnership. And Divine Feminine, I'm going to say that you're part of shifting the template for this, not just for yourself, but for the collective, because this is such a centuries old confusion that's gone on in so many cultures. So this work that you're doing on yourself, just remember that it has mission to it. Okay. This energy here in your emotional energy, there's so much hope coming through for you. And the hope is related to, victory and love. There is a renewed sense of the possibilities of what could be coming through. With this Five of Wands energy, though, I think Spirit is just also, it's kind of telling you not to play games with it, you know, not to sort of joke around so much with it, okay? And also not to take that lightly, to let that hope deepen within your system, to allow the fact that you might be eating those grapes, you know, of victory, that you might end up getting so much of what you want. But the Six of Wands energy, even in that victory, can be sort of egoic, and coupling that with that Five of Wands, which is sort of a little bit of a kind of horsing around. Spirit is telling you to start to develop a little bit more emotional maturity towards what, again, going back to that difference between romantic, lower egoic love and divine love. That star is so much sitting on your horizon, all right? Your long-term goals, your long-term plans, they are definitely there, but there's sort of a calling to sort of arise above a slight immaturity. And also immaturity, these are your thoughts too and feelings. So be aware of sort of childish tit for tat thoughts about your counterpart, about any third parties involved, all right? To get into this more divine feminine energy, this more angelic energy, it is going to require kind of a leveling up in the emotional and the mental bodies. These are just like, you know, dabbling, you know, energies. And so you're being asked to being called to go deeper, to become more wise, just to develop wisdom within yourself, all right? To get out of it's sort of like an immature level playing around. What's shifting for you? Healing came straight out, the sun. You're about to go into another beautiful phase of healing. And it's a new emotional direction. So really coming right out of this sort of emotional maturity, there is a shift coming towards you in terms of having a healing. And it's going to cause you to move out of turbulent waters. All right? You're going to be sort of carried. See, that's just so interesting. There's this sort of female peacock figure, and then the divine feminine is laying on her back. You're going to be carried out of pain, and this portends a lot of success in terms of this leveling up, because it's right here. It's like it's just right around the corner for you, and you're going to be buoyed up by these beautiful energies. And this is almost like a female peacock, you know. So there's this beautiful elegance, queenly energy, pride in a positive way, like good self-esteem. You know, birds sending messages, taking wing, lifting you up out of the air, out of the sort of the dangers of the earthly realm. The Page of Cups is also about messages, and these messages are going to be coming. See this little spirit card talking out of her? Okay, and she's a bit of a mermaid, yes? So this is emotional messages coming from the spiritual world. There's a cup in there to fill your cup, the cup of love, all right? Be really mindful of your dreams and messages from your guides, messages from your spirits. This is a really important time for you to be following your intuition really closely, listening for those little voices. It's just right over her shoulder, and she's looking in two directions. So make sure that you are looking in the right direction. Do not look away from your intuition and the messages on the wind, because that is where your divine healing is going to come from. These energies are not deeply separate. There's a coming together energy in this center row, but we're going to get to that in just a second. And I'm mainly talking about this victory card being in the same position, which is really quite extraordinary. Victory and love coming around in your connection. There's a bit of work to do here. And he's kind of spiritually bereft right now. This is a masculine who is on the defensive spiritually. He's, it's like a combination of feeling really detached and left out in the cold spiritually, like he feels abandoned by the divine, completely out of balance spiritually, has his eyes more on the material world than he should, and he feels really defensive. He may be getting messages and downloads, but he's really blocking things out, kind of a bit in a victim consciousness. It's like feels like a victim, and he kind of wants to stay that way. And that is really more in the depths of his spiritual life. So this is actually some really deep problems with him, because he's actually doing a little bit better on the earth planes, but this deeper need for spiritual healing up here is super important. So if you do 5D work, 5D meditation, any kind of chanting or clearing of the connection on the 5D realm, because he is not tapped into spirit. All right. You're tapped in, and you have a load of heavy darkness to clear in terms of those codependencies and those past life stuff. So you're tapped in, and you're getting rid of a load of stuff that's in some dark basements, and stuff that has been old and festering in terms of, karma and ancestry. So you've definitely got a lot in your suitcase right here, but he doesn't even know what's going on. He's fighting something, and he doesn't even know what the heck it is. All right. So Pray for the enlightenment of your twin and this awakening, this spiritual awakening, all right? Any kind of energetic work you can do to assist him in just waking up. He's disoriented on the spiritual realm. Emotionally and intellectually, he's doing a little bit better in the physical bodies. You know, he's got a brand new start, a brand new journey coming in. And, you know, that magician represents mastery and expertise and training. And he's moving in some new directions in terms of his spiritual, not his spiritual world, his physical world. He's got some, in the material plane, he's making some changes in his life. And he feels really, really good about them. And it's making him feel really quite victorious. I just got a hit though. And this victory in love for him, though, is really more about himself. I hate to say that, but it is. So you've got these three really singular male energies, and they're all very young. This is about a young masculine, or at least maybe not young in age, but young in terms of like maturity, who's made some changes in his life, and he's like feeling pretty good about himself. Now, that's a very singular energy, and it's kind of like all about him, but it's a good thing. Okay, it's a good thing because he needs to go through these life changes in terms of developing his sense of himself as a developed, prideful, strong, mature, masculine man. He's starting that journey, but there's no older masculine cards in here. So this is very boyish energy. But he has started to also begin to go on a journey in terms of mental and emotional development. Very young energy there. He is feeling like he owes you apologies about things. He's aware of that. Not sure if it's going to come forth anytime soon, but there is a beginning of a kind of a growing awareness as to his part of any of the conflicts that have come between the two of you. I need to get some water. He is beginning to own that, okay? It's coming into his awareness that wasn't all you, okay? That he had something to do with it, okay? This is in his mind, but his spirit is so lost. I would love to see these two things get a little bit more connected. There's such a stark line between his spiritual, his energies, and his mind and emotions. So that this needs to get hooked up. It's almost like needs to get plugged in. He's not very plugged in. You know, a lot of people think about their thoughts and feelings about things, right? But not a lot of people on the planet open up to their spiritual levels and their journeys, and it's like a something that doesn't find its connection, find its plug. So that's something that needs to come forward to him. The energies that are shifting for him is he might go through this period of being sort of a little combative. You know, the Knight of Energies is somebody who comes rushing in and charging in without thinking things through very much, right? So the Lovers is obviously, he might be coming towards you in a bit, but it's not very well thought out. It could be very sort of clumsy. You know, he's moving towards love and the connection, but there's something a little, it's interesting because there's a little something unstable about it, but underneath he also gets, the Strength card, which is, there is compassion, there is confidence, there is patience in the Strength card, there's willpower, there's endurance, there's inner strength. It's just like almost like a 747 incoming for a crash landing. So it might be, know that the intentions behind it and the power behind it is true and strong, but there might be kind of crazy, thoughtless blips due to just sort of mental confusion that he has. He might say really stupid things, but try not to get caught up in that much. Because what connects you guys is the Ten of Pentacles, which is that happily ever after card. So there's definitely energies shifting forward and a coming together for you guys. Let's back up. In the connective energies in spirit, here you have the Magician as a couple, which again is mastery and expertise and training. Okay, so this is also to say that these two things, in the spiritual realm, you guys are not very connected, which is right now. But what you're working on separately is creating a new cycle of mastery between the two of you that will come down into this happily ever after energy, which comes forward. And to move through that, you're both going to emotionally and intellectually be passing through some really deep, dark fears. His deep, dark secrets and fears that he's going to have to face are what's under this self-absorbed energy. I almost use the word narcissistic, but I don't want to, because that word's thrown around so much, and it's actually a very serious diagnosis, and I don't think he has this. This is just that kind of early immature years in a man's life where he's just thinking about himself mainly, and he's going to have to start to look at what is going on underneath that all. Okay, yours is a little bit more what we were saying before about, there's this sort of, there's an immaturity on both sides, and yet you both have these major arcanas. Okay, his the Magician, which is the beginning of the journey, the Star, which is hope for the future. So there's this positive thing, but it's just both of you, it's really about both of you growing up a little bit more and looking deeply at what are the things that you're going to have to let go of to grow up. I'm pausing because that's a really important thing. Whenever we mature and we step into wiser, higher levels of self, there are things that need to be shed. Things that we've held on from childhood. Things that we've used as security blankets and protecting ourselves with wanting to be a child and still on some level sort of wanting mom and dad to take care of everything. I love that musical Beauty and the Beast, because it's very much about having to let go of childish ways and looking deeply into the self to recognize those childish ways so that you can move forward and blossom. And as you guys do that, the promise of happily ever after starts to come forward. Even in that level, there's some shifting. But you have this healing card and you have this strength card. This strength card is also a number 8, and it can represent obstacles and barriers that need to come through. And some of those barriers have come from this really poor level of communication on his part. He loves you, and he sees you as his twin, as his partner. But he has a tendency to blow stuff up, and it creates a lot of problems for the two of you. I'm going to say again, I wouldn't try and work that out. I mean, it doesn't say don't work it out, but I mean, don't just take his stupid little details. You just want to get that place of an older, mature wife where it's kind of a little bit of like, there he goes again, kind of thing, and not try and work out every little detail of everything he ever said or did wrong. It's like, don't nitpick on the things that that don't matter. Some of it just really, really, really doesn't matter. All right. I love the Moonology, and I feel like there's some guidance here available to you, Divine Feminine. So let's take a look. We're going to go here. This energy is gaining momentum. Well, I was just about to put that on because you've got the star and the sun. So I really want to say that there's really a huge amount of healing and dreams coming true. You're really moving through. Sorry, I'm going to get my card. You're really moving through some really dark energies, Divine Feminine. Have faith and have hope. That star is telling you to have hope. You are transforming. And it's going to allow you to hold more steady as he goes through these blips and these changes, and as he starts to really learn who he is. I think what I was saying before is like, just don't allow your energy to get so thrown by his, all right? We're going to have a little message here from your masculine. Okay. I'm going to do a couple things here. I also want to see what is the main spiritual obstacle that he's facing, because this is really something that's kind of dark up here. Self-defeatist. Yeah, he blows himself up, this guy. He loves to blow himself up. And I'm going to do one more on him too. What does he need to move through and grow up around? Blocks to maturity, please. Vitality. All right, I'm going to start there for a second. So the things that he gets his sustenance and his vitality from are really not the deepest, most nurturing things, right? So, you know, that fig, and the figs are also very aphrodisiac and sexual, and he gets a lot of energy from his sexual identity. It's just young boy kind of stuff. And Spirit is asking him to start to get his vitality from the divine, from a bigger source. He's getting his vitality from vanity and ego. If he's flirtatious and playerish at all, you know, because this is a very vaginal symbol. Just know that it's just part of his immaturity, and Spirit's asking him to grow out of that. He has energetic patterns of being self-defeatist, and this is this thing where he starts to find some strength and true love, and he does stupid things and blows himself up. But you can be in an energy of just observing that rather than allowing him to. Don't let him blow you up, okay? But detach a little bit for your own sake from that behavior, because that is a pattern that needs to go. The message: you may not always understand why certain things happen. However, there is always a higher purpose for the events in your life. Through turmoil, a blessing will soon be revealed. All right. So yeah, this is a connection that has a lot of pops, a lot of arguments, a lot of misspoken words, a lot of events and incidences is the word I'm looking for. So this is asking you to just sort of pull back and just observe this flow of incidences and know that none of them are catastrophic and over, that these things just kind of come and go and come and go. And a lot of that is he's working his own stuff out as he becomes more anchored, more centered. But you hold on, Divine Feminine, to the momentum of your own healing. And your own healing is rich and it's profound and it will provide a safe, stable place in this connection for him to keep moving. The good thing about this energy is that it is moving. It is definitely moving. He's, again, in a very young, immature energy, but he's bopping along. There's not a lot of blocked energy here. It's just like, it's this image of this person, this young guy, like riding a wild horse. And that's your guy, you know, that's how he is. He's just swinging that sword, doesn't even know what he's doing half of the time, blowing himself up, saying stupid things, you know, hitting on girls and doing his thing because it makes him feel better. But he's in a learning process, and he's going to learn these lessons. It feels like, you know, very, very positive. His is all very surface and egoic stuff. Yours is in the deeper, in the depths of your being that you're looking at. All right. So I hope that's helpful. I hope that gives you a little direction for your healing. Please do hit the like button if you found something useful. Leave me a comment. I love hearing comments from you guys. Hit the bell so you can find out when my videos drop. And it was just great to be with you today. And you know, my purpose for these readings is to help you to focus your journey in the most productive way. So I hope we were able to do that today. Okay, I'll see you next time. Hello, Pile 5. Welcome. Welcome to your reading. You have chosen the Journey of the Sacred Bee Tarot. And you have this beautiful clear quartz cluster, which we're just going to put up here for you. It's in the original layout. So today we're looking at what's going on. What's going on between you guys? What's going on in this connection? What's happening? So many changes in the energies at this time. We want to get you guys oriented. There's so much opportunity for healing. And the purpose of these energy readings, these tarot readings on my channel, is to guide your healing and be super productive. So what's going on here, Divine Feminine, in your energies? 10 of discs. Okay, that's wonderful. That's 10 of Pentacles. The 4 of discs, 4 of Pentacles, and the Hierophant. Can you see all that? Is that in there? Let's move it over a little bit because these are big cards. Okay, thoughts and feelings, Divine Feminine. You've got the Journey, 0. That's the Fool. The 5 of Pentacles and the Sun. And what is shifting, Divine Feminine, for you? The 8 of Pentacles, which is mastery. The Devil. And the 7 of Cups. Okay. All right. We're gonna have to have a little chat here, young lady. Okay. All right. Let's see what's going on in the Divine Masculine energies. What's going on in his energy? The Hermit. The World. And the Knight of Rods. The Justice in his thoughts and feelings. 2 of Pentacles. 5 of Pentacles. Boy, that's coming out for both of you. All right, what's shifting? 8 of Swords. Three of Rods. Oops. I dropped the card, and it's the 6 of Pentacles. Okay, we're going to look at some connective energies here in the Rider-Waite. What are the connective energies in this connection? In Spirit, we've got the King of Wands. The energies, the Knight of Wands. And the Queen. Lots of sexy and spiritual energy going on between the two of you. Okay, so let's start here. So, Divine Feminine, you're going through a lot of spiritual burning. All right? The bottom line, though, is that you're hanging on to this idea of happily ever after, and it's causing you some grief, but you are reconfiguring what this journey actually is. You're getting some really deep lessons that this is not about necessarily about the picket fence and the 4 kids and the thing. Not that you couldn't have a successful union, but that the ideas as to what that means in a woman's life, that it's not so much about having things. It's not so much that true partnership is not about owning somebody else. It's not about clinging and hanging on for dear life, hanging on to being taken care of, being provided for, owning a partner, owning a man. All that cultural claptrap, Ozzie and Harriet kind of imagery of, you know, the 2 kids, 2 cars, and the da-da-da, and what that means, and how you hang on to a man for dear life until you squeeze out of it. Spirit is really, really insisting that you rethink that, and you are doing that, but it's there's still a hanging on to that old imagery of that. And it doesn't mean you can't have a life together, but what that life actually means and is completely different. And that connective energy, the King of Wands, because that is about knowledge, spiritual knowledge. On his side, he's learning, he's going deep within, and he is also reconfigured, is the word that comes out. He is completely reconfiguring what he thinks about the world at large, completely. And he, on a spiritual level, he's really starting to let go of that playboy energy. You know, that Knight of Wands, that Knight of energy, even though that connects you. On a deeper level, he knows the jig is up on that kind of energy, and he's ready to take action, spiritual action, to start shifting that, because he's really questioning the way he's been, and the fact that it has left him spiritually bereft and lacking. Thoughts and feelings, Divine Feminine, you are, because of this shift in the spiritual energy and the redefinition, the spiritual redefinition of what partnership is, you're starting a complete new cycle, okay? There's an enthusiasm, a positivity, a confidence as you move forward. The sun is healing you from feelings of being left out in the cold by him. Both of you guys feel very left out in the cold by each other. And there's been this sort of sexual playboy energy between the two of you. If you are sleeping with him a lot here and there without any true foundation of what is actually going on between the two of you, I think Spirit's calling you to take a little bit of a pause in that. Don't use sex as a tool to try and get him. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. Okay? For this to be the thing that's connecting you emotionally, it's not so great. Okay? We want to see this card shift fundamentally, because this is not a really a deep card. There's definitely just sort of it's like sexually toying with each other, and that you want to shift. All right? And you have the ability to do that over here, to shift that, okay? Because you are, this kind of activity has been the thing that has been leaving you feeling out in the cold. This is the kind of divine masculine that sleeps with a woman and then leaves, that sleeps with a woman and then he leaves her again. And every time you're thinking, oh, okay, this is it, we're going to be together, and then he vanishes again. And you have been really wounded and really, really damaged by this. But your healing is at hand. You're going to have to unplug that for a little while. He has also felt left out in the cold because this way of interacting with his divine feminine has not been fulfilling. So he has to make some choices about his life to bring himself back into balance, because he is not in balance. So there's a third party situation. He needs to make some really solid decisions about that. Or I'm also kind of getting from this guy with a little boat like way out in the distance that he might need to be making some decisions to spend some alone time to bring himself back into balance. So don't be surprised if you don't have a cycle of separation coming for it. It might not be a huge one, but he needs to figure that out a little bit more, okay? Because he has put himself out in the cold through his own actions, and he has to decide what direction he's going to go into and what kind of choices, real material choices, he's going to do to bring himself back into some kind of balance. He needs to find the truth out about himself, and he is on the right path, but there are some things in his life that have to go, all right? But he's seeing the good news about that is that he's seeing the deeper truth in that, okay? Now, what is shifting for you, Divine Feminine? To be honest with you, you've got some issues of codependency that are going to be coming up, that you're going to be facing square on. But you're willing to do the work. You're willing to do the diligent, hard work, because you've been seduced. See this? Seduction, codependency has been the thing that's been allowing you to sort of just keep going back into this toxic sexual dynamic with your masculine. And you're about to really do the hard work of cleaning that stuff up and looking at what your motivations have been, because doing this, right, along with what we said about the Hierophant and not holding on to illusions of happy ever after, and the Seven of Cups represents illusion. It represents putting your faith in the wrong things in this world, the material promises of Maya and happiness. See that these cups are here, but see there's a Venus flytrap, okay? It's like investing in material things, money, having sexual connection that is not divinely connected, and then you think you've got it all going, and then you fall down in that Venus flytrap and you get devoured by this young guy. This young energy is just playing around, who needs to grow up and revisit his thing. So this is you kind of unplugging from that. What's connecting you guys is the Queen of Rods, which is, the queens are about patience and they're about maturity, and it's finding this beautiful healing mastery. And this is a much more mature feminine sexual energy. This is an elevated energy, and it's what's connecting you guys, and it's really coming out of you doing the work, doing this work of creating some boundaries and cutting him off in a certain way. And I don't mean like block him on Facebook, not that kind of immature cutting off, but just saying like, you know what, I need to really figure out what I'm doing, how I want to engage with him, what my boundaries are, what my healthy boundaries are. And by instilling that, you get to that a much more elevated place. But once again, the divine feminine leads the journey here. What's shifting for him? You know, he's got this Eight of Swords, which is just not really seeing. He's not wanting to really see what is possible and the fulfillment that could come in. He's still out of balance. There's an unequal give and take and in the relationship. And as you start to draw these boundaries, just know that it's going to throw him for a little while. It might feel in the short run that it causes a disturbance in the force, but it's something that you're going to have to go through. This card represents fulfillment. And he doesn't necessarily see that you are his fulfillment, because he approaches you sort of in the wrong, in this energy, in this sort of player energy. And that needs to be rerouted so that so the balance comes back between the two of you. But he's not going to really want to see that for a while. So that's okay. I'm just going to ask for a clarifier here, because this is what happens when two codependents unplug from each other, right? One gets healthy and the other one kind of has a little bit of a freak out, and he might seem like he's shutting you out, but what he's really not seeing is himself. But what's the outcome here? Temperance, which is things coming back into balance. I'm glad I pulled that, because it's going to create a cycle where things might seem very deeply detached, but it's something that the two of you are going to have to go through to move this out of balance into balance. All right, this is also a card that represents caution on his part. So he might pull back a little bit to get oriented with kind of the new you, and it's also calling for you to be cautious as well. But it does have a good effect in the end when you start letting go of your illusions and your illusions. I'm going to just stick with that. The word is so clear and so strong. Let's talk a little bit. Let's just ask, we're going to go to the emotional intelligence here for a second. And let's just ask for, here, what are the things inside this illusionary world of, happy-go-lucky, Ozzy and Harriet world that needs you to, the Spirit's asking you let it go of, on the defense? And what's tied to this codependency? Desperate. Ouch. Okay, so Divine Feminine, I'm going to, listen, this is here on the defense. This is saying, like, if I'm saying that stuff about, like, oh, you believe that happily ever after is everything, that kind of thing might feel like an accusation to you of that, but of A, that's not what I was doing, or B, why shouldn't I want that, or that kind of thing. Be aware of the triggers that brings up for you, because again, it doesn't mean that you can't have a happy life, but it's the way that you're holding on to that. So this on the defense card is coming out because this is a deep trigger for you, and this is like someone who went to college just, to go get her MRS degree, and she just can't figure out why she can't get it. And the answer is because when you come into this incarnation as a twin, that is not what you signed up for, a banal suburban life. What you signed up for was an intense spiritual ascensive journey. And you can have a home and you can have kids, you can have those things, but to focus on the deeper meaning of what it really is to be in an ascended partnership. And I said, what did you have to let go of to release this codependency? And the card Desperate came up. So there's been a desperation in hooking a man and trying to settle down. That's been driving you. An inner feeling of desperation, low self-worth, feeling like if I don't make this work, I'll get nothing. This also points to like, is the universe on my side or not kind of issues, right? And that desperation, that energy of desperation that you've been carrying around, that's the thing that causes him to come and go, right? Because when a woman, when a masculine feels that deep inside, and this is deep, deep stuff to clear out. This is stuff that's coming from your childhood, past life stuff, self-worth stuff, and this player energy is tied to that. Because when the masculine comes in, interacts sexually, and feels that, they take off again. They don't stay for that because it's not solid. The masculine ultimately wants to be with a queen, or the queenly energy that's solid and strong within herself. And when you've got defensiveness and desperation and grasping and trying to corner him into a life that he doesn't want, that is just triggering. And they come and they go for that, okay? Let's get some guidance here. Tangibility. Okay, this is saying about make your dreams real, which seems like it would be the opposite of what was being said, but it's really also about reconfiguring and redefining what those dreams actually are. All right, what's the essence of your dream is what Spirit's asking you. You know, is it just, you know, going off to Home Depot to buy new kitchen appliances, or is it the depth of a highly profound, spiritually evolved connection? Balance spirituality and practicality. There you go. And on his side, conclusions are within reach. All right, and I'm just gonna go one more message. I'm gonna just pull some messages. How are we doing? We got some time. You're doing good. Okay, message from your masculine. Depression. Yeah, that's here. Yeah, he's in a rough state. And let's have a starseed oracle for the two of you. Mars energy, anger, conflict, softening to love. All right. Okay, so let's just start with the balancing the spirituality and the practicality, because I know I repeated myself quite a few times, that saying that rerouting the definition of the divine partnership doesn't mean that you can actually have a life together. It completely does. But for you, it's about bringing those things into a balance, okay? Having one foot in the spiritual world and one foot in the material world, which is what that Temperance card over here means. The anger, the great severing, the Mars energy, anger, conflict, and softening to love. I have this right over this player card because there's a need here to release the anger that these cycles of coming in and out together have created. All right, just it's, we talked about clearing karma in the past, but the two of you have actually created a lot of anger recently. Recently, I mean the last cycle since meeting, this lifetime meeting recently, as opposed to dredging up old stuff from old lifetimes. So you have resolutions between each other and releasing of energies between each other for the stuff that you've just started to create recently, because you're here to straighten this relationship out, not to create more problems with it. So the great severing is also, again, saying that you might need a little bit of time apart to sort of process through some of that. And it doesn't have to be a hard apart. It's just sort of, you know, going back to your corners a little bit. The card here from the Divine Masculine, it's here. It's this card of depression. So Spirit's telling you is not to underestimate how difficult things have been for him on the inside. This card of feeling left out in the cold. He's been taking this a little harder than you think. Some of this revisiting of the whole world and the way he looks at stuff, and needing to make choices and causing the balance, all of that. It's definitely unearthing some darker feelings within him. But the conclusions in Reach again are also saying that he is able to bring that into a bit of balance. He's on his way to releasing and not just releasing, but actually seeing it more clearly, seeing himself more clearly. He's this Hermit card here, along with that conclusions within our Reach, telling him that inner looking and relooking at inner world, he is making progress on that, but it is bringing up some tough sludge in his system. He's looking at himself in that way. Your stuff is more about these illusions. You know, this isn't like really dark, deep, heavy, dark stuff. Whereas his kind of is. Let's have a message from an healing. Caution. Archangel Bridget, caution, which is temperate, is warranted. Look deeper into this situation before proceeding further. So again, Divine Feminine, you're getting a message to put on the brakes, put on the sleeping together brakes, separate a little bit, pull your energy back, draw some boundaries, figure out where this desperation and these illusions are coming from, and just be a little wary of his behavior. As somebody is coming out of that kind of player energy and coming out of these dark depressions, making choices about their life, you want to make sure that you're protecting yourself from that, because that can be when somebody's first looking at themselves for the first time, that can be a really difficult time. So protect yourself, all right? As you're pulling out of codependent behaviors, get your boundaries up. And it doesn't mean you have to be nasty or block or things like that, but just take care of yourself, okay? All right, I hope that's helpful. If you found it helpful, go ahead and hit the bell, hit the like button, and leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you guys. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.